Cancel the order for 70 portions of barbecue meat. Suddenly, I receive a call, leaving me stunned and frozen. At the other end, the caller is Elsa, a mom friend who's quite wealthy and well-known in the neighborhood. Cheerfully, she explains she decided to order from another place. Originally, our budget joint doesn't deliver barbecue meat. We are a burger place. To this, my mom friend responds, "What?" Her voice trails off, disappearing. Later on, I learned about Elsa's spiteful scheme and realized her big miscalculation. I'm Luna, 45 years old. I met my husband Bobby when we were both 20, falling in love while working in the culinary field. We became independent at 35 and opened our budget joint. After marrying, we had a son, now 19 years old. He's attending a university far away, so we are living apart, but we support each other and lead a fulfilling life. There is just one troubling matter. It's about Elsa, a mom friend I met through my son. Even after my son left for college, Elsa and I often chatted as part of our neighborhood interactions. Her family is affluent, with her husband boasting about being an elite banker. But that's not the issue. She's a malicious mom who finds reasons to bully someone in our circle of mom friends. The others always try not to upset Elsa, and I have been cautiously avoiding her attention too. However, a recent incident made me her target. I have been a bit on edge about it. A few days ago, Elsa invited me to a gathering of mom friends. I planned to go after finishing up at the diner, but it took longer than usual. I immediately informed Elsa about my delay, but she responded grumpily and hung up, which worried me. "Sorry for being late," I said, rushing into the venue. I saw all the mom friends already gathered. As I apologized and took my seat, Elsa glared at me, clearly annoyed. "Why were you late?" "I got held up at work at the diner." "You didn't forget our promise, did you?" Elsa seemed particularly irritated by my tardiness. Despite my polite apologies, her anger didn't subside. Next, she criticized my attire, calling it shabby. Contrary to what Elsa said, I wasn't poorly dressed. I wore nicer clothes than usual, and even my bag was a brand gift from Bobby. I knew she was just being vindictive about my lateness, but being ridiculed in front of everyone was embarrassing. "I'm really sorry," I said. "The meat delivery is delayed. Does your place handle meat?" Elsa asked, beginning to take an interest in our burger joint after asking various questions for a while. Right then, she suddenly said, "I'm hosting a home party and inviting so many people. Can you prepare the food?" I was taken aback by her sudden request. Elsa continued without minding my surprise. "I haven't set a date yet, but I'll let you know once I do. You'll deliver it to my house, right?" At that moment, Elsa wore a sly grin. Seeing that smile, I had a bad feeling, but reluctantly agreed. After all, she started to complain even when I tried to gently refuse. There were no formal reservations yet, and she might change her mind, so I didn't take it too seriously. A few days later, Elsa contacted me on my cell phone. "I made a reservation for 70 portions. Don't mess this up or you won't be forgiven." She said this with a tone of arrogance. I replied, "Thank you," and listened to her talk. "I ordered barbecue meat from you, so be grateful." Her words surprised me, and I responded, "Oh?" Elsa snapped back, "Is there a problem?" That wasn't the case, though. Our place doesn't deliver barbecue meat. Bobby, being a traditionalist and somewhat stubborn, wouldn't bend our business policy or agree to something we can't deliver, I thought. But since Elsa says she made a reservation, Bobby must have accepted it. Even so, your diner service is quite off-putting. Do you always treat your customers like this? You should be more friendly, don't you think? Elsa's words shocked me even more. Bobby might be reserved, but he's not the type to treat customers poorly. However, arguing this point and upsetting Elsa seemed like a hassle, so I just let her complaint slide. "And you really should communicate better with your husband. He didn't even recognize my name when I mentioned it. You should talk more with him." Bobby is not good with names, so if there was any rudeness, I apologize. I'll make sure to tell him next time. "Do that, please. You really are a handful, With that, Elsa hung up the phone. That evening, I decided to ask Bobby about Elsa. "Elsa? Oh, I know her. The neighbor, right? What about her?" "Today, she called, upset that you didn't recognize her name when she made a reservation." Really? I wonder. I talk to so many people. Maybe I just didn't notice. I'll apologize next time I see her. Understood. But be more careful, okay? After all, we are in customer service. Oh, and check if we have a source for barbecue meat, will you? Barbecue meat? All right, Bobby said, and then went off to take a shower. I was putting away Bobby's things, thinking about his peculiar reaction when I mentioned barbecue meat. Something felt off. I was pondering this when Bobby called me, and I decided to let it go. On the day of the delivery, I looked over the note Bobby gave me while straddling my bike. It was a light day for deliveries. Just as I was about to finish and approach the last house, my cell phone rang. I answered, "Hello?" It was Elsa on the other end. "Cancel the order for 70 portions of meat." This sudden call surprised me, and I froze. Elsa, in a good mood, explained, "I decided to order from another place. I got the notice just 3 minutes before delivery, but plans changed. Sorry." I quickly checked the note in a panic. The note Bobby gave me listed the house and times for delivery, but Elsa's name wasn't there. I thought today wasn't the day and started sweating, wondering if Bobby forgot. "Was today the delivery day?" Elsa replied in an annoyed tone. "Of course it was. Aren't you a bit out of it? I definitely ordered 70 portions of barbecue meat today." "Well, it's canceled now, but how can you run a business like that?" I struggled to understand Elsa's sudden talk. This was getting weirder. Elsa, growing impatient with my silence, asked, "Are you listening?" She raised her voice. Elsa might be misunderstanding something. With that thought, I hastily responded to Elsa, "We are a burger joint, you know." Hearing this, Elsa replied with a puzzled, "What?" "We are a burger place, so we don't deliver barbecue meat. Are you sure you ordered it from us?" "Yes, that's right. You agreed to the meat order, didn't you?" "That's strange. Originally, we don't handle barbecue meat. Maybe Bobby made an exception and sourced barbecue meat?" After Elsa asked, I said this. Elsa sounded flustered. I was confused and didn't understand what Elsa was talking about. Then, after a few seconds, Elsa exclaimed, "I got it, you're lying." Excuse me? "You're lying because I suddenly canceled the order for 70 portions, aren't you? You surprised me." "Don't scare me like that," Elsa said, sounding angry. I tried to explain that I wasn't lying, but Elsa wouldn't believe me. "Just because I played a little prank, you're telling such lies. You're in customer service, aren't you? Do you think that's okay?" Elsa's voice was accusatory. "What are you talking about? Did you really order meat from us?" "Huh? What are you talking about?" Seeing Elsa confused, I decided to explain our Burger Giant's policy. Our place mainly serves burgers. We have steaks and appetizers on the menu, but we have never sold raw meat or delivered it. After hearing this, Elsa gasped, seemingly at a loss for words. Wondering if she understood, I heard her say in a faint voice, "That's a lie." Feeling this was the moment to speak my mind, I said, "I'm sorry, but something doesn't add up since our last conversation. Bobby might not be the friendliest, but he is always polite to customers. He's quite stubborn and doesn't deviate from his policies. But when I heard he accepted an order for barbecue meat, I was surprised." "What are you trying to say?" "Maybe there's been a misunderstanding," I suggested. At my words, Elsa seemed to realize something. "I'll check with my husband again, but could you please recheck your order?" While Elsa remained silent, I heard the sound of her taking out the order form. Then I heard a doorbell ring on Elsa's end. Elsa muttered something under her breath and moved towards the entrance, her footsteps echoing. Then I heard a short scream from Elsa. "What happened?" I asked, panicking. Elsa replied with a trembling voice, "So many portions of meat have arrived." Elsa's voice was filled with dismay. I realized that the doorbell earlier was rung by the delivery person. "What? What are you talking about? What was your shop's name again?" I told her the name of our burger joint. Elsa heard it and she hysterically said, "What?" Wondering what would happen next, Elsa started complaining about mistaking the restaurant. "What am I supposed to do now?" What can I say? If the meat has arrived, shouldn't you accept them?" "Seems like your order was successfully placed," I said. Elsa yelled furiously, "That's not okay. I never planned to have a home party today. I just wanted to annoy you because you are late, that's all." I was shocked to hear this. Elsa had thought of such a terrible prank. Though I had a bad feeling, there was no actual harm done, so I thought my worries were unnecessary. But it seems I was wrong. I was stunned hearing Elsa verbally abusing the delivery person. "Take it back. Cancel it. I won't pay a single dollar." The confused delivery person's voice came through. Elsa's recent admission of her prank made me angry, so I informed her, "That's a crime, you know." Elsa choked on her words and then snapped back. I explained to her about recent issues with last-minute cancellations. Last-minute large cancellations are problematic. There have been cases of damages being paid, so you could be sued. "Why would you know that? Stop making things up." "We run a diner, so when such cancellation issues were in the news, I looked it up. Intentional actions like yours can be considered business interference, a kind of criminal offense, and if not sued for that, you can be sued for breach of contract." Elsa gasped at my words. She seemed to fully understand the gravity of her action. I imagined Elsa on the other end turning pale. The delivery person's voice about suing was also audible. "What should I do? I hate this, and I never intended to pay for it. So how can I?" Elsa was hysterically screaming, troubling the delivery person like a child. Then Elsa told me to come over immediately. So, after finishing my last delivery, I headed to her house. When I arrived at Elsa's house, I saw a bike parked in front of the gate with a logo that I recognized as belonging to my friend Daniel's restaurant. So I called Daniel before rushing over to Elsa. "It's all your fault. You pay for everything." Elsa immediately demanded that I pay for the meat. When I refused, she became even more aggressive. "I meant to reserve at your diner in the first place. It's your fault for having a confusing phone number." Elsa was being completely unreasonable. I sighed inwardly, facing her absurd accusations. "Do you think it's okay to place an order just to harass someone?" "That doesn't matter. I can cancel if I want to." I was utterly dismayed by Elsa's selfish attitude. As I said earlier, last-minute cancellations are a crime. It's better to pay now than deal with more trouble later. As I tried to reason with her, Elsa stubbornly refused to admit anything. Meanwhile, Daniel arrived at Elsa's house with a lawyer. Elsa was surprised to see her friend. So, I explained that he was the owner of the butcher shop. Elsa tried to dismiss Daniel, saying she canceled on the day and told him to leave with the delivery person. Daniel glared at her angrily. "If you don't pay, I'll sue." "What? You're blaming me?" "Sue Luna, not me," Elsa protested. "How can you order 70 portions of barbecue meat and cancel at the last minute? Your name and phone number are on our reservation list, and Luna has nothing to do with this," Daniel replied. Elsa, turning pale, hung her head. Daniel introduced the lawyer beside him, worsening Elsa's shock. Daniel spoke in a calm tone. "We know the situation, so let's discuss it with the lawyer. If you agree to pay for the meat now, we won't sue. What will you do?" Elsa maintained her negative stance. Daniel, apparently frustrated with her unreasonable claims, retorted, "We'll sue you then," and started to leave. Hearing this, Elsa snatched the meat from the nearby delivery person and furiously threw them to the ground. "How dare you try to sell such terrible-looking meat? I'll sue you too." Elsa blurted this out in desperation. Faced with her behavior, Daniel had no choice but to make a tough decision. Later, Elsa was sued by Daniel. Elsa was sued for the full price of the meat, business interference, and defamation. She continued her stubborn refusal to pay. However, according to Daniel, it's almost certain that Elsa will lose the case. He knew Elsa had previously harassed other businesses in a similar manner. Bringing the lawyer was to secure evidence against her. I was shocked to learn about these new facts. Ultimately, Elsa had to pay various damages for the meat and business interference. Her past malicious acts towards other businesses were also recognized, and she had to pay them too. Elsa was harshly reprimanded by her husband, and when I saw her after a long time, she looked remarkably haggard. Although I wasn't directly harmed by Elsa, Daniel insisted on giving me a portion of the compensation as a gesture of gratitude. Initially, I refused, but Daniel persuaded me to accept it. Other friends who run businesses thanked me, and they started coming to our burger joint to hang out. Despite everything that happened, I'm grateful that our diner is now